Do you think that you could go a full month without prepping for therapy at all for speech therapy? Would you like to try? December is a notoriously busy month for all of us, and usually our clients and our students are all zany with that pre-holiday energy. So what about if this year you cut yourself some slack? We are going to do a no prep challenge for the month of December. So I'm Carrie Clark, and in this episode of the Speech and Language Kids podcast, I'm going to tell you the rules for our no prep December challenge, and I'm also going to give you the tools to get set up now so that you can actually make it work and go through your entire month of December without having to prep a single therapy activity. Give yourself that extra time that you're going to need around the holidays and when you're wrapping up 2024. All right, welcome. I see several people popping in here on our live recording inside the hub. Welcome to all of you. If you guys have any questions, you can drop those into the chat. If you are listening to this podcast recording later and you would like to participate in our live recordings, you can do that at the hub by going to hub.speechandlanguagekids.com. But hello, Runa and Tracy and Grace and Marianne. Welcome, you guys. And Jennifer, welcome. All right, so we're going to get started. I'm going to tell you all of the rules of the No Prep December Challenge, and I'm super excited about this because I feel like so often I hear you guys say, this sounds amazing. I definitely want to do more no prep therapy. I definitely want to do it this way, but I just don't have time to do it right now. And I was trying to think of how can I incentivize you guys to do it, but also how can we make the most of December, which is just a crazy month anyway. So I'm excited to give you all this push to actually go no prep for the month of December because you don't have time for other stuff anyway. And yeah, so I'm going to give you all of the information on that. I see a couple people popping into chat. Hi, Grace. Hi, Runa. Welcome. Hey, Leanne. All right, before we get started, I do want to do a giveaway because if you are new to me, this is my third episode back after a long break on this podcast. We were obviously doing other things, but I said on the first one back that I was going to do a giveaway for somebody who left a review on the podcast. So I got a bunch of reviews. Thank you all for those. That really helps us out. But I wanted to call out this review, and this person is going to win one grade level of our core language program, which is our 16-week oral language intervention. So this person, their username in Apple Podcasts is somebody to love. So if that is you, go ahead and email us. Email me at carrie@speechandlanguagekids.com and we'll get you hooked up with your giveaway. You will need to show us a screenshot of that as your username so that we know that's you. But here was the review on the podcast. I'm always so impressed by Carrie's advice and recommendations. I'm so excited this podcast is back. She gives practical, straightforward tips and strategies that always blow me away. She presents things in a clear, concise, detailed manner, and I always learn so much from her, even though I'm in my 8th year. I'm so happy this is back. So thank you so much for your love, and I've loved getting to look at all of the reviews. Please head over and give us a review on whatever platform that you like to listen to podcasts on. That'll help other people find me since we are getting rolling with this again. All right, so many highs. Leanne says, I agree. Well said. Thanks, Leanne. Okay, so let's jump into our topic today. So we're going to be talking about this No Prep December challenge, and I will give you all of the rules. I will give you all of the tools. I'm going to help you with this, but I want to tell a story first. If you haven't listened in a while, I have really leaned hard into this story-based learning because I feel like our brains connect so well with stories. And it's a great strategy we can use with our students, but it's also a strategy I want to use with you guys. So I'm going to tell you a story of my day of rest. And this is a thing that I have done several times now. But going back to the very first iteration of my day of rest, I basically was just feeling stressed, feeling burnt out, feeling like I never had any downtime. And so I would just go until I crashed and got sick. And then I would have to shut down for a day. And so I started to think about the different religions and the different cultures in our world who do this idea of a day of rest. So in the Jewish religion, it is called a Shabbat. In Christianity, it is called a Sabbath. It is used in many more than those two, but those are the main two that I think of when I think of a day of rest. And it's this idea of taking an entire day off once per week. And in my mind, I was thinking, wow, wouldn't that be something? Ha ha, that'll never happen. But then I really started thinking about it. And I thought, people are doing this. There are religions that have super strict rules for their day of rest. Like you can't even use electricity. You can't turn something on or off. And I started to read up on these cultures and read up on these different people and what strategies they use to be able to actually facilitate a day off. And so I made a plan for myself. And since I was not following this for any religious reasons, I made up the rules for myself. And I decided what was a stressful activity and what was considered restful for me. So maybe doing crafting and crocheting, those are restful activities for me. So I was going to allow those. But things like cooking and cleaning, those were the things that I decided I wanted a day off from. So I thought, okay, how can I make this work? How could I prepare myself the day before so that I could take a day of rest, feel really good about it, and still have my family and my household function, right? And so this is relevant to this because we were talking about this No Prep December challenge. But in order to feel good about going no prep for December, you're going to need to do some work up front. So for my day of rest, I decided that I needed to have a whole lot of food available for my children. I have 2 young children. They eat constantly. And so I needed food available for them that I didn't have to cook during the day. So I made the day before, I made muffins. I made some monster cookies that were super healthy. I mean, healthy for cookies, but had a lot of nutrients in them. I cut up some fruits and vegetables and put them in a tray. And I had all of this food available. I think I even put a crock pot meal into a baggie so I could just dump it in and hit go. And that was dinner. And so I had all of this food available and I did it the day before. And I explained to my family what we were doing. And I said, I'm not going to be doing these things tomorrow, but I have it all set up so that everybody's still going to be okay. And there was some questions and some concerns from the little ones, but we made it through and it was amazing because I truly got a day to just relax, reflect on what was happening in my life, and just take that deep breath. So, how does this relate to our No Prep December challenge? Well, we're going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to give you an entire month without prepping for any therapy sessions at all. I know, it sounds scary, especially if you're not used to doing no prep therapy yet, but it is very possible. People are doing it. I have done it. The people in our membership are doing it. So this is a possible thing. And once you wrap your head around that, then you start to see the possibilities. But in order to take this month off from prepping activities, you're going to need to do some work up front. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because I know that you are, I don't know if overachiever is the right word. We all have superhero syndrome, right? We want to help and we want to do the best job that we possibly can. And we want to help these students, which is why I have no concerns in telling you to not prep for therapy for the month of December, because I know your therapy is still going to be amazing because you're not going to just say, oh, we're just not going to do therapy. They'll come to school, they'll come to class and we'll just goof off, right? I know you're not going to do that. So if you set yourself up, if you prep for the whole month at once, and I promise you it's not going to take nearly as much time as you think it is right now in your head, if we do all this work up front, then we can take the entire month of December when you're already stressed about end of the year and holidays and all of the things that come up in December, because December is just a crazy month. And you're going to be okay because you're going to have this extra time and this extra breathing room. Okay? So there's only 2 rules for No Prep December, and they are, number 1, you may not prep any therapy activities during the month of December. You are not printing things off of Teachers Pay Teachers. You are not laminating. You are not cutting out pieces. You are not hiding things in your sensory bin. You are not prepping any therapy activities for the month of December. And then the second rule is that you may not take elaborate data or full data on student progress more than once for the whole month of December. So one time for each student, I will allow you to actually sit down and collect your data. If you can do it without, even better. But I know that you still need data or it didn't happen, right? You still need something written down. So I have a rubric style data sheet for you to use instead. So you're not prepping any activities. And when you're with the students, you are with the students. You are not nose down in your data sheet. You are not taking data on every repetition they make. You are present in the moment, helping them reach that next level of mastery. Okay? All right, so those of you who are in there in the hub with me live right now as I'm recording this, let me know what questions you're having or concerns, or are you excited? Tell me how you're feeling. I'm going to keep going because the next thing is, okay, how do we prep? How do we do that extra work at the beginning to set ourselves up to feel good about taking a month off of prep? Okay, so here's the steps for making your prepping for your no prep. So number one, you're going to set up your speech folders. I did a podcast on this, so if you are with me live, it actually just launched today. If you are listening to this as a podcast, then it's last week's episode. So go back. You're going to set up your speech folders where each student is going to have a file folder. They're going to be organized into hanging folders. And inside those speech folders will be their work. Okay, so set up your speech folders. That's the first step. Step 2 is to choose 1, 2, maybe 3 skills to target for each student in December. And I should also say, if you're watching or listening to this much later and December has passed, you can do this any month you want. This is very easy to just jump into wherever you are. But you're going to try to really narrow down, okay, what's like one thing we really want to hit hard in December? Or maybe 2, maybe 3, but that's pushing it. If you have 3 skills, then you better have a whole lot of minutes for that student, and they better be students that make a lot of progress. Because the thing is, our students really need lots of repetition to make progress on these skills. And so if you chose just 1 skill for the month of December and really hit it hard, you could make really significant progress. If you're hitting 3, it's a little iffy because you're bouncing around a lot and they may not be able to really make that progress that you want. Okay? So step 1, set up your speech folders. Step 2 is choose 1 to 3 skills to target for each student. Step 3 then is going to be to grab no prep therapy kits from our website or other no prep materials like worksheets, or if you have flashcard decks, or you could photocopy some flashcards. If you've got some flashcards on an app like the Articulation Station app and you know you're just going to use that, grab those no prep therapy materials, drop them in the folders for each student. Okay, so on our hub, the hub.speechandlanguagekids.com, you'll find the no prep therapy kits for all the skills that we've covered. You can just grab the kit for whatever skill they're working on this month, print it out, drop it in their folder, and that student is prepped for the whole month. So that's what I said. It's not going to take you as much time as you think. You are not coming up with new activities for the whole month. You're coming up with one activity that you will do over and over again, and then we'll talk about how you're going to keep it interesting by using games and crafts and all those things, okay? So you're going to grab the no prep kits, put those in the folders. Then you're going to print out our rubric style data sheet for each student, put that in your data binder. So we actually have this inside the hub, and it is just a quick and easy note page where you just say, okay, today we worked on the S sound in single words, and then on a scale of 1 to 5, you rate their how well they did. So on a scale of 1 to 5, today for S in single words, they did this well. Okay, that's it, just 1 data point for each session. And that's how we simplify our data collection. All right, Leanne says there's a problem with audio, but it looks like other people are okay, Leanne. Maybe just leave and come back in, see if that fixes it. All right, thanks, Grace. Okay, so we've set up our speech folders. We've chosen 1, 2, maybe 3 skills to target for each student. We've grabbed a no prep kit or a worksheet to drop in the folder. We've printed out some data sheets so that we can take our notes. And then you're going to watch the webinar that we're doing on the 25th of November. So I'm going to do a full 1-hour webinar on this challenge, how to get set up, how to do the actual therapy, because I know that part can be overwhelming as well. And that's going to be inside the hub as well on the 25th of November. I don't think we have a time yet, but if you're inside the hub, just keep an eye out. We'll be announcing those things as we go through here. And then we're going to give you more information. I'm going to give you support. I'm going to be having posts and videos and ideas inside the hub all month of December, so that if you get into therapy and you go, wow, that didn't go how I thought it was going to, I'll be there to support you through that as well. So definitely come and join us inside the hub for that. Okay. So I want to talk about what your sessions are going to look like, because if you are used to prepping a specific activity for each and every session that you do, then no prep therapy looks a lot different, and it can feel uncomfortable if you're not used to this. Okay. So this is what your sessions can look like for no prep therapy. They don't have to look like this. You can tweak this, but this is a starting point for you. This is a place to start. So no prep session. Your students are going to come in. They're going to grab their folder. I recommend when you set up your speech folders that the first session you have with them is orienting them to how to use the folders. So they're going to learn this, right? They're going to come in, they're going to grab their folder. Now, if you are working with younger students or students who are not developmentally at a place where they can come in and grab a folder and sit down, you can grab the folder and just have it for you. But for our students who are capable, they will come in, they grab their folder. They sit down at the table with their folder, open it up, and look, right there on top is the thing they need to work on today. So we have them, as they come in, we have them practice their skill, whatever it is. Maybe they're saying some words with their sound. Maybe they're practicing some sentence structures. Maybe they're answering questions. And you have them just kind of practice to themselves while you walk around the room and facilitate and help and cue them, okay? That, we can usually do that for a couple of minutes, just the kind of drill and practice kind of part of the session. And then we're going to need something to keep them interested, right? Especially if we're using that same worksheet, that same kit for every session for the entire month. You need something to kind of switch it up to make it fun, right? So in your session, in your room, you're going to have some games, some crafts, like not like something you have to prep, but just like here is some beads and some pipe cleaners, go to town, right? Or some sort of activity, some toys, something that is appropriate for the group that you're working with. And you're going to have that on the shelf. So then they can say, okay, I want to play this game. You say, great, grab the game, we get it out, we start playing the game. And while we're playing the game, we're continuing to practice the skill, either as it comes up in conversation or in isolation if we need to do that, meaning, okay, say your words 5 times before you take your turn, right? So it just kind of depends on the skill we're working on. And that's it. We just let the student lead what we're doing, and we work on the communication through that. Everything that we do in speech language therapy is communication. So it is very reasonable for us to assume that we will be able to work on those skills through conversation, doing whatever activity the child wants to do. And if that feels uncomfortable, if you feel like I've lost control, I don't know what we're doing, that's okay. Give yourself a week to try this and to feel uncomfortable, and then to say, okay, let me reflect on how that first week went. Let me see where I could tweak things, and let me see what support I need. And then you can come on into the hub and you can ask questions and say, okay, I really struggled with working on this skill. How do you guys do that in a no prep manner? Because there are some skills that just don't come up very often in conversational speech, but that they may still need to follow. So we can talk about, okay, how do you work on that? How can you set up a situation where they're going to need that skill? Okay? So that is the big overview of what this is. Like I said, I am going to support you through this, and we are going to start on December 1st. So before December 1st, we're going to have our webinar. So we'll have a webinar November 25th where you can pop over and watch the full explanation. I'll go into depth on how to do all of this. I'll walk you through setup. I'll walk you through the speech sessions. And if you are listening to this later after November 25th, 2024, then you can just hop into the hub and watch the recording now, and you can go ahead and get started. But we'll have that. And then we are also going to have next week's podcast is going to be about data and how to do this simplified data collection. So we're going to walk you through that. And then we're also going to we already have all of the tools that you will need inside the hub. So we have the no prep therapy kits for you to drop in the folders. We have the monthly planning page, which is where you write down what skill each person is working on for the month. We have the rubric style data sheets. Those are already made. And then we have lots and lots of videos on how to do the actual therapy piece and how to use those kits. So if there's any skill you're stuck on, we have more support for you there. In addition to that, there's so much happening. We also have our Black Friday sale coming up. And so for Black Friday, we're going to be doing a free extended trial. So usually we do 1 week free trial when you sign up. We're going to give you a month if you're a new member. We're also putting our lifetime memberships on a 20% discount. So if you're already a member and you're ready to just pay one time and not have to pay anymore, you can get that for 20% off. And then our core language program is also going to be 20% off. And that is our 16-week oral language intervention. So if you have a student who you are working with on language skills and you want a super easy way to do the No Prep December challenge for your language students, even if you have language groups, you can do the core language program because it is step by step. You get out the worksheet, you do it with the students, and over the course of 16 lessons, it will teach every oral language skill in one grade level for the Common Core curriculum. So that would be a really super easy way to get all of your December language sessions planned is you just grab the grade levels you need, and those are going to be on sale, like I said, 20% off during Black Friday as well. So that sale is November 29th through December 2nd, through that Cyber Monday. So all kinds of stuff coming up that we're going to support you with. Okay, those of you who are in here with me live, what questions do you have and how are you feeling? Put those in the chat. And those of you who are listening to this podcast, I highly recommend that you subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to now, because throughout the next several weeks, I'm going to be going more in depth on how to do this challenge. And I'm going to be giving you support on, okay, this part didn't work. How do we tweak this? Or how do we do it for this skill or that skill? We'll also be talking about how we can get ourselves ready for 2025 with our systems and our checklists and getting those all streamlined. We're going to be talking about how to get your space organized so that when January hits 2025, you're going to hit the ground running and you're going to be in such a better place. And all you had to do was not do something in December, not spend all your time prepping for your activities. So you're saving time in December, and you're also getting yourself ready for an easier, more streamlined way of doing speech and language therapy, because it doesn't have to be as hard as we sometimes make it, because we want what's best for the students, but we assume what's best is us going above and beyond and giving 110% of what we've got, instead of saying, okay, how can I support these students in just as an effective way while saving myself some stress as well? And that's what we all need this holiday season, less stress. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you have any questions, you can join me inside the hub. Go to hub.speechandlanguagekids.com. Chat me up in the private chat, or you can post in the discussion board. And then also make sure you access all of those tools and trainings and all the stuff you're going to need to have the best December ever. And I'll be right there with you. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.